steadfast confidence. The idea is that Momentum is a code auditor that at every git push analyzes your code and tells you what can go wrong and helps you fix what has gone wrong. So let's start with creating a PR. I'm going to edit this function in light LLM, which I'm sure you guys are aware is the LLM proxy, and I'm just going to create a PR from this. Once the PR is created, Momentum takes over. It analyzes all the relationships between different functions and classes in your code base and creates a whole mapping. It tries to compute the blast radius at every git push, and I have that for the same chain that I just did. I have that already pre-computed here in the interest of time. So so when the processing is done, it should display this blast radius, which is the scope of possible impact of all your changes, which means that these are the APIs that will be impacted by your change, and we're able to detect this by looking at your entire code's graph structure. And right from here, the developer or the reviewer can plan for test cases that should be handled by this code base, and the GitHub bot will comment all the happy paths and edge cases that should be tested for this code base. Because oftentimes, if you review a PR, are you really reviewing a PR? You are just doing a lot of housekeeping work and working on maintainability. But from here, you can directly jump into the Momentum app and jump into the project that you are working with. So I can select the branch that I was working with, and it's showing me the blast radius here again. If I click on configure, it shows me a visual representation of my code base. Now this is really important. Let's take a more complex API, and we can see that this visual representation really comes in handy in order to understand what is happening over different functions across the flow, and not just the couple of functions that you as a developer were editing. And it allows you to select which dependencies you want to mock out when you are testing these scenarios, or whether you want to use a mock database, or you want to actually provide a test database configuration. You can save all of this configuration and go do the same for any other endpoint. Once that is ready, the test plan is generated. The test plan again takes into account the functionality and the intent of every API. So it understands what every function is doing, and from that also understands the final flow and what can go wrong. And when you click on generate here, now it should take all of that information and use this custom tool that we have built that essentially has complete code-based context for you. Often times when you're developing using AI agents, they have just a limited pointed context. But what we have tried to do is create a endpoint level overall context for the entire code base. So let's say you want to test a delete API and you had to insert something to delete it. But I wouldn't know that unless I knew what is happening across the code base. So I have created this tool which essentially takes this entire flow that you just saw, breaks it down into what every endpoint is doing, and figures out the intent of the API, and creates an RAG agent based tool that is used by the testing agent. Once everything is complete, the test code is generated, as you can see, and and then you can easily test this in your local IDE itself. You don't need any new setup. All you need to do is run Momentum's CLI. I have a typo in there.